The moment you change, your energy changes. And when that happens, you become a vibrational equivalent to something. Now you enter a specific vibrational field of energy, and your perceptive lens changes because you have to be able to view what's inside that dimensional plane. Just like buildings, you could have 5 buildings in front of you. You make the choice. You want to go into a library, a school, a bar, a restaurant, or a gym. But when you enter into that building, you will experience what that place has to offer. And your perception has to be such that you will see all of the elements conducive to the energies that are in that environment. Does it make sense? That's exactly what goes on. The only difference with metaphysical energy is that it can superimpose itself over physical space, meaning their science says that 2 objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time. In the physical, yes. That means you cannot put 2 physical bodies to occupy the same space. The molecules are too dense. But in the metaphysical, that goes right out the window. So you can literally be in the same physical space with, like, let's say a few hundred people, like a room, and you are completely plugged into something different, metaphysically speaking. That's why you see somebody's miserable, somebody's happy, somebody's different personalities. They're just plugged into something different. That's why I say there's no singular universal truth, because there's no singular universe. There isn't one plug rule. Oh, there's just the one plug there. We all got to plug into that. No, that's not what's happening. You are a unique energy that Source only created one of. And that energy is what allows you to connect to what you call the universe, the cosmos. It doesn't matter. And there are infinite connections because there are infinite energies. Some people are agnostic. They don't believe in Source, but they don't rule out the possibility. Then you have monotheists, who only believe in one God. Polytheists believe that there are many gods. And then, of course, you have atheists that don't believe at all. It doesn't matter. The truth negates belief. You think what you call a universe cares about your belief? Oh, I don't believe in this. That doesn't exist. I don't see it. It's not real. The universe could care less about that. That's why I say all belief systems are disempowering in nature. That's why you're implanted with them. Because if you look at history, at the annals of human history, more wars have been fought over religious purposes than any other because of disempowering belief systems. People are ready to kill each other just to reinforce their belief system and impose it on somebody else. Like I say, you have the right to identify with whatever you want, but you don't have the right to push that identity on somebody else who isn't in alignment with that stuff. That's just the way it is. But anyway, you just have to really analyze what's going on in this world. And when you are absorbing all of this negativity that you're plugged into in social media, all of the satanic garbage that's pumping into your subconscious mind, converting you into a lower vibrational creature so they can control you in that lower dimensional plane of unconsciousness, the first dimension, the 0 dimension, or the subdimensions. That's when you become that. That's why they work hard to keep the truth from you, because there's a bubble, and they don't want you to break that bubble. And once you shatter that ceiling, that dome, which is the 3rd dimension, then you're out. Then they can't control you. That's when you awaken and you become enlightened and aware, and you become ascending. You're ascending. They don't want that. They don't want ascension. They want you to descend and become unaware and fast asleep and oblivious. Listen to what we say. What we say is the truth. Never question science. Always follow science. Are you catching on to this stuff? All of these things are part of the same hub, the same nucleus of the matrix. Religion is the nucleus of the matrix. And then the hub, science, math, medicine, the telecommunications industry, the military-industrial complex, the educational infrastructure, the pharmaceutical industry. Why do you think in South America, they've been decimating the South American rainforests at such an alarming rate over the last 4 decades? Because all of the natural cures are found there that God is giving you for free with no side effects, no direct effects. I remember, I think it came from it came from another country. Oh no, it was South America. Something called graviola. I think it's referred to as soursop. It's a fruit. Graviola cures an infinite myriad of cancers. But in this country, they banned it from coming into this country. They banned a fruit from coming into this country. Why would they do that? And here they are pumping these pills down your throat. The reason why the pharmaceutical industry decimates the South American rainforest is because all of the natural cures are there. They don't want you to be healthy and healed. They want to make you sick and keep you sick. So what they do is they synthesize those natural cures in pill form with scientifically contrived side effects in them. Scientifically engineered side effects are incorporated in these pills, knowing that when you take one pill, it isn't going to just go to where you think it's going to go, like an aspirin is just going to go to my head. No. When you take anything, when you ingest anything, it gets disseminated throughout the entirety of your circulatory system. That's where your side effects come from. And how do you counteract side effects? With more pills. And on you go. So you start with one, and like Elvis, he had a mountain of pills before he died. A mountain. And it's that way by design. So when you're plugged into this low vibrational energy, you're always going to stay there, and your perception will be such, it will only recognize what they tell you is reality and what they tell you doesn't exist. But you have to break out of that if you ever want to truly change, because you'll have to just keep coming back to this earth again and again until you do. You've got to break the third dimensional barrier. You have to, or else you're just going to keep incarnating or reincarnating over and over again. I know this stuff sounds lunacy. This guy's crazy. He must be on drugs. He must be an alcoholic. No, I ain't none of that stuff. I don't drink. I don't smoke. And I don't do drugs. I never did and I never will. I'm as clean as they come, man. I live a clean and healthy life. I'm not a lunatic. I'm not nuts. I'm not out of my mind. I'm none of that stuff. I've known these things for years, man. All you got to do is look. It's right there. You do the research yourself. Go do your fact checking. And don't use Snopes, because that's a part of their cult. That's all just nonsense. But I'm just saying, the moment that you enter into a higher vibrational plane of consciousness, a higher dimension, your perception changes. It has to. It has to adjust accordingly. Why? Because you have to be able to view everything in there. That's why, to give an example, psychology has a term called pareidolia, a psychological phenomenon in which the mind makes sense of irregular shapes and patterns. That's garbage. And what am I referring to? If you look at wood grains or tree bark or clouds or just anything, you'll start configuring familiar forms of depictions in those things. Like you'll see faces, you'll see images and shapes and stuff that are recognizable. Now, what psychiatry is trying to say in psychology is that doesn't exist. That's just illusionary phenomenon. So just ignore that. That's BS. Because once you start ascending, your perception changes, then the universe concurs and they go, boom, here you go. Now that you're in a higher vibrational plane of consciousness, instead of being unconscious, we will show you what has always been in front of you all along. Because now your perceptive lens has been adjusted in such a way that now you are of a higher level of dimensional awareness. And that's what's going on. Like if you have a kitchen table that's made of wood and you've had it for 20 years, you just ignore it because you're low vibrational. But the moment you start awakening to things, you'll see things start forming in the grains of that wood, shapes and different graphic depictions. And that's the universe trying to send you messages that you've arrived. You'll begin to see the world differently. When you change the way you view the world you view will change. Remember those words. And I don't mean change in one way. I'm talking unilaterally, man, across the board. And then you become released and free from that laden energy that the matrix, the satanic matrix, induced into you with demonic unconsciousness, a compressed consciousness that suffocates you. Because let me tell you something. The ones that are running this stuff are satanic. It's no way around it. Why do you think Hollywood is riddled with violent movies, violent video games? I don't see any country in this world promoting peace. What is the national budget for peace in this United States here? Zero. Why? Because there's no money to be made from peace. But they have endless amounts of money for military defense spending budgets, don't they? Of course. This world shall only know peace the very moment that war is no longer profitable. It isn't just military skirmishes and long protracted conflicts on some battlefield in some far off country. I'm talking about dividing people, man. Social media, propaganda, psychological warfare. That's what's going on. You folks need to seriously wake yourselves up before you find yourselves in a place that you can't get out of. I ain't getting into that stuff because the AI algorithms will definitely flag this video. Trust me, I got a lot of videos I could post in a way heavy subject, but they would get taken down instantly because I've had it happen before. So I don't even want to waste my time. I'm just trying to say with this video, once you become consciously aware, you awaken yourself. You become enlightened. Then that's when your ascension process begins. Then you start to raise up and rise up and go from the first dimension to the second. Then when you're at that third dimension, keep going. Because once you break that barrier, boom, you're out of their matrix. But here's the caveat. When you break that third dimensional barrier and you find yourself in the fourth dimension, they will ostracize you as a pariah because you are no longer a part of their cult. And I'm talking about your family, your friends, your co-workers, society. They won't recognize you anymore because you're not absorbed into their cult. And this society is a cult, run by a cult. That's why you have the word culture. Break it up into two pieces. Are you catching on? That's why they say culture, cult, your. Those are two separate words. You go look them up. That they fuse together to make you think that this is a culture. This ain't no culture. This is a cult going on out here. That's why you see all of the cars these days, black and white and gray. They're creating a monochromatic landscape by erasing all of the polychromatic colors of the rainbow. They're doing that for a reason. If I put you in a room that was all black, you would go nuts. If I put you in a room that was all white, you would go nuts because it would affect you mentally and emotionally. If I put you in a room that was all gray, you would lose your mind. And you wonder why you see the colors disappearing from society. People are only wearing black or white or gray. They don't wear, like when I was a kid in the 70s, or even you could see, go look at film footage from the 60s. Beautiful colors they were wearing. Vibrant, vivid, gorgeous colors. Turquoise, orange, purples, green, blue, red, yellow. It just goes on. Beautiful colors. You don't see that anymore. When I was a kid, affection was encouraged in society, hugging and kissing and love right in front of everybody. Everybody's like, that's beautiful, man. Nowadays, if you hug someone or if you kiss someone in public, you're going to get the eye rolls, get a room, that's disgusting. They discourage affection. And at the same time, they encourage cruelty and violence. Because the very same people telling you to get a room because you're showing your partner love and affection publicly are the very same people that don't have a problem going to an MMA match and watching two guys bludgeon each other to death in a ring. Because that's socially acceptable. Beating somebody to death, that's socially acceptable. But God forbid you should show somebody affection and hug and kiss them in public, because then you should be thrown in jail and put away for life. Don't you see how wrong this is? These are Satanists, folks. That's what they are. And they have every intention on turning you into what they are and getting you to be familiarized with their ways. Prometheus is the trickster. Go look at Rockefeller Center. They've been throwing it in your face for years. And I'm not kidding. You got to raise up yourself. You got to get into a higher vibrational plane of consciousness. Break the third dimensional barrier, and then they can't control you. And if there's enough of you to do this, that's it. Then they become obsolete and then extinct. And that is the point of why you're here. To take back control of your life that you gave to them when you were born into this illusionary world. And you were forcibly indoctrinated into their camp. Their school systems, society, public, their jobs, their 9-to-5 grind, the whole mentality of it. Your unconscious societal programming mechanism is what equipped you with your polarized mentality and your egocentric perceptive lens of duality. That's why you only see black or white, good or bad, life or death, rich or poor, evil or good, Jesus or Satan, heaven or hell, forward or back. It's just that way. Death is the biggest illusion. Nothing dies. How could it? Energy only transfers form. The only time energy is destroyed is when God deems a soul far beyond redemption, and then the soul is destroyed. But the soul is recycled into a viable form of positivity that is reintroduced into all of creation. And that's something I can't get into. I've witnessed this myself, but not in this form. But I can tell you that only source can destroy energy. Other than that, it always transfers form. So transfer from the lower vibrational field where you are to a higher vibrational field and watch how fast your world will change. All of the complaining goes away, the arguing, the fighting, all the defeatist mentality. I can't do this, it'll never work out. That negative default setting you unconsciously revert to, that instantaneously begins envisioning worst case scenario situations. That's all a part of your social programming, by the way. That's just going to be evaporated. You'll become joyful and happy again. Life will become pleasant again because you're wearing a mask. It's like a virtual reality mask that are covering your eyes, and the cult is in the control room and showing you exactly what they want you to see. Death, poverty, war, chaos, controversy, adversarial rivalries, pitted against each other on TV, battling it out. Political debates, which are nothing more than verbal boxing matches, specifically designed to satiate the morbid curiosity of the ego. Oh yeah, I want to see him beat the living daylights out of this guy with his words. That's all that stuff is, man. And you feed into it because you're connected to it. So disconnect and give yourself a break because you're poisoning yourself by staying connected to their system. Straight truth. Have an amazing day by realizing that you're not physical, you're non-physical, you're formless, you're shapeless, you're metaphysical, you're cosmic. You're a celestial being occupying a physical form temporarily. You got to get your head around that, man. That's the only way that this is going to work. Because if you don't believe it, you're going to reject it. And then when you pass, you're going to come back. Until you do. You got to break that third dimensional barrier. Well, anyway, peace be with you always. Carry love in your heart. Don't ever have hatred for anyone. That rots you to your soul. It's a cancer that will rot you to your soul. Because hatred is what they want to perpetuate and perpetrate. And that's what they want you to carry. And they want you to spread it. Because they want a world that is hate and violence and apathy and cruelty and stoicism. They don't want love and kindness and affection and empathy and warmth. Because that's the antithesis of their program, their propaganda, their agenda. You got to get real with this stuff. Why do you think wars are always prevalent anywhere in the world? There's never unilateral peace. There's never global peace. There's always some skirmish or a battle or a long protracted conflict waging endlessly somewhere. And it's the same puppet show, man. It's the same three-dimensional puppet show. You just got to stop buying into the lies and the illusions and the games. And you have to detoxify yourself from the drugs of negativity that they programmed you to be addicted to. Stop becoming attracted to these things. And by attracting, I mean sending your energy, becoming transfixed, becoming curious. Because that's when they connect your energy to theirs. And then that's when they got you. It's time to get clean from the drugs of negativity and evil. And only you can do that. Plug into something higher. And when you do, your perceptive lens changes and the whole world concurs. Because this is an illusion anyway. And your spirit guides are not going to give up on you. The only one that's going to give up on you is you. Those are words of advice, man. And it's just not my opinion. And I hope that it can help you in your heart. Just like all of the messages that I bring here on this video and all my videos. Universe works through me to you. I'm being as honest as I can be. I don't make my channel about myself. I make it about Source and the message that Source is trying to convey to the world through me as a conduit. That's what this channel is all about. God bless.